Welcome to Pro Athletes Unfiltered. In this series, we're going to be comparing and contrasting what it takes to be a professional athlete in each sport. Every episode, we will be following a top pro, spending a true day in the life, from their home to their training to challenges that they face to become one of the greats. They will put me through intense training regimens, and in the end, will challenge me to see if I have what it takes to make it in their sport. Get an insider's look into the vast differences in every sport, from fitness to financials to sacrifices and mental fortitude. My name is Kinsey, a professional stuntwoman and extreme sports athlete, and I'll be your host. In today's episode, we have Miguel Rojas, a 16-year MLB veteran, listed as 2022's #1 shortstop in Major League Baseball. He is the former captain of the Miami Marlins and now starting infielder for the star-studded Los Angeles Dodgers, where he will be playing alongside phenom players Shohei Ohtani and Yoshinobu Yamamoto, two players with combined contracts of over $1 billion. Come with us as we get to explore Miguel's luxurious Miami home and peek inside the mind of this professional baseball athlete. This is Pro Athletes Unfiltered. Good morning, guys. Welcome to another episode of Pro Athletes Unfiltered. Today, we finally have the baseball episode, the MLB, and I'm very, very excited about this one. We're in Miami, Florida right now, and not only do we have a professional baseball player that's been in the league for 16 years, but he also was voted by his teammates twice for good guy, and he's been really, really kind, so I'm excited to spend the day with him and dive in on what it's like to be a professional baseball player. So, welcome, Miguel Rojas.
Thank you very much for being here and make the trip to Miami to check out my day.
Yeah, of course. So tell us a little bit about yourself and how you kind of got started in baseball.
Well, that happens a long time ago back in Venezuela. That's where I grew up, and my family kind of took me to a baseball field when I was like 3 or 4 years old. It wasn't easy because I got a couple hits from a bat and from a ball, and I didn't want to go for a little while. But then after a couple years, I started playing a little bit, and I got into a league. People started seeing that I was kind of good, and I started like practicing every single day because my grandfather was kind of my mentor in baseball, and that's how my love for baseball and kind of this world started.
That's amazing. And so I think a lot of people don't see in baseball you have to go to the minor leagues, and that process sometimes can be a really long process. So kind of describe how that process was getting drafted and then how long you spent in the minor leagues and what that was like.
Right. I signed as a free agent in Venezuela when I was 16 years old. So the Cincinnati Reds gave me the opportunity to be a professional baseball player. Signed my first contract there, but like you say, it's a hard kind of career that you sometimes you stuck in your own life thinking that, okay, I have so many other leagues that I have to go through to get to the big leagues because everybody's dream is playing the big leagues, right? Yeah. And be on national television and be on the spotlight and all that. But it's a process, and I think the grind of playing a lot of years in the minor leagues kind of form you and give you the opportunity to build yourself, kind of your own attitude and the way that you're gonna be acting when you get to the big leagues, and that was a long process. So I was in the minor leagues with the Reds for 7 years of my life, and I never play in the big leagues with them. So actually, at some point I thought that I was never gonna receive an opportunity. Yeah. Then after that, when I ended up playing with the Reds, I was a free agent again after 7 years, and the Dodgers gave me the opportunity, signed another contract, and finally made it to the big leagues.
Wow, that's so inspiring, because I feel like a lot of people after 7 or 8 years would give up on that amazing dream, because the minor leagues is also really tough. I've heard financially, it is not, just because you get drafted as a professional baseball player, you're not compensated as a professional baseball player in the minor leagues. So kind of talk about the financial side of the minor leagues.
Yeah, you're right. For me, it's grinding every single year with whatever you can have to get through life, you know? And it's really hard because it's crunch time in your life. It's like in between your 20s or like early 20s, mid 20s, when you kind of trying to make a profit for yourself and for your family, you know? Like sometimes motivation change, depends on when you are at your career. And for me, the motivation was to make it to a big league so I can help my family financially, so I can have a family, so I can actually have my own things. Yeah. And at that point, I felt like all I was doing was playing baseball, you know? I wasn't thinking about anything else. I have to make it or I have no other choice. And financially it's kind of hard because you're not making the money that everybody thinks you're making because you're a professional baseball player. You end up making that money if you play a long time in the big leagues. So even if you make it to the big leagues, you're gonna make minimum salary, and that's kind of nothing for the rest of your life. Remember, baseball player's career kind of ends 40 at most if you have a really, really long career.
Yeah.
So you have another 60 years to live. And then if you don't play in the
Are you living to 100? Is that the plan?
I think so, yeah. That's the plan for me. I don't know about you, but I want to live.
I mean, I hope, but wow, 100 is...
That's why we work out every single day.
Yeah, exactly. Take care of ourselves.
We make good decisions. But yeah, I mean, at that point, I just wanted to play in the big leagues.
Yeah.
I wanna reach my goal, which wasn't just my goal. It was my whole family. They gave up on their own life to actually live my life. My grandfather, my grandmother, my mom, my dad, they want me to be a baseball player, but they actually were living a dream too. So for me, that part of like the grind of being in the middle of the minor leagues kind of helped me to stay motivated to kind of, supply for myself.
So my favorite part about this series is getting to like compare and contrast every sport because it's just so different, the process. So you were describing how you get paid the bare minimum when you get signed. So you went from the minor league spending 7 years in Cincinnati, and then you got brought over to the Dodgers. So once you get brought up to the Dodgers, explain that process. Once you get a big league contract, what's that kind of like?
Yeah, when I signed with the Dodgers, we're still to be in the minor leagues. So they sent me to AA. I still have to prove myself to see if I can play in the big leagues.
Yeah.
And then in year A, I actually was in AAA, and I finally got the call, right? So in 2014, when I got the call up to the big leagues, kind of financially never changed. Like things kind of stayed the same because that year I was going to make the minimum salary in the big leagues.
What is the minimum salary?
At that point, it was like $470,000. And then after taxes and all that, like you're playing in California, they taking 44% of your checks plus other things that you're not making that much money. You know, like you end up like clearing $150,000 in that year, and you're not really like seeing money until like you get to arbitration, which is like 3 years after you make your debut. That's why I tell like kids and players who wants to play professional baseball and want to be big leaguers that, I mean, you can't really be okay with just making it to the big leagues.
Yeah.
Your goal have to be like playing a long career and actually have at least 3, 4, 5 years of career so you can make some money.
Right.
But I see the difference for sure because the lifestyle in the big leagues is so much different than in the minors.
Just the way that you're treated also by the fan base and
100%, and traveling and the way that you stay, the hotels that you stay, the way that the organization kind of, they make sure that you can feel the difference between being in the minors and in the big leagues, Right,
like okay, so in the minors, you're getting the worst hotels, you're traveling around. Are you busing around or are you still flying? You're busing.
Yeah, you're busing like 12, 14 hours from city to city when you're in the middle of nowhere in North Carolina, or I play in Pensacola, I play in Billings, Montana, and you have to bus from one place to another 12 hours. In a bus with a guy next to you, you can't really sleep that much on the bus or whatever. So it's really hard.
So you go from a bus to a jet.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the big difference. So maybe your salary didn't reflect 100%, but the lifestyle.
Definitely, the lifestyle is when you feel the change, and when you see a stadium when you're not used to playing in front of 30,000 people, So in the minors, the most fans that I saw was like 7,000, 10,000 maybe in a really good night on a weekend. When I got to the big leagues, the lifestyle changed. You're flying in private planes. When they bring you food to your seat and drinks and all that, the meal money is really good. On the road, you're staying in the best hotels. You're playing in front of 45,000 people in LA. It's different, At that point, that becomes your motivation for me. Definitely, I wanted to stay. I never want to go back to the minors. But it's not up to me. At that point, is the only thing that I can do is control what I can control, which is playing baseball, be good at baseball, and trying to stay at that level. But at the end of the day, baseball players have so many like restrictions, and they can do something with you in the first 3 years. They can send you back down because you still have options on your contract and all that. But that's kind of complicated. But at that point, all I was thinking was I want to stay here and I want to help my family.
So if you get brought up to the major leagues and they sign you for this 3-year contract, and then you get bumped back down, do you still get that contract, but you're back in the minor leagues?
The first 3 years, that's why it's kind of tough, because the first 3 years of your career in the big leagues, the team kind of can have you under the minimum, which was 475,000. Right now it's 700,000.
Oh.
After it's been getting better and better, and there's some bonuses and all that. The all players have been working really hard in a players association that we have. We have our own players association who works really hard to get the benefits better for new players and young players. Now we're up to 700,000 for the minimum, which is so much better for players from 0 to 3. So from 0 to 3, the team have you for the minimum salary.
No matter who, even if you're the number 1 draft picked, minimum salary for 3 years.
Yeah,
there's no way to shorten the contract.
They have nothing to do with you if they don't want to. There's some players like, let's say, Fernando Tatis Jr., Ronald Acuna, Juan Soto, and these guys have been signing big deals early in their careers because the teams have the option of offering them a deal because they know they're going to be really good. And if they wait 3 years, they're probably going to be so expensive after. So they've been trying to get ahead of the game and sign them for a big deal. But that doesn't happen to everybody. So the team have the option of keeping you from 0 to 3 on the minimum salary, and you can do nothing about it. All you can do is play good, trying to get your bonuses, trying to stay in the big leagues. But at the end of the day, after 3 years is when you start making money.
Well, it kind of makes sense, though, to prove yourself. I mean, obviously, it's a huge difference. There's a lot of pressure involved. Like, you're going from, 10,000 people in the stands to 50,000 potentially. And so I've seen players who were number 1 draft picks and they just didn't perform. So it is kind of nice that you have to prove yourself, maybe a year or 2, maybe 3 is a little excessive. So, okay, then you go from the minor leagues, you finally get brought up on the Dodgers in the major leagues. And how long did you play with them before you got transferred to the Marlins?
I just played 1 year with the Dodgers before I got traded to the Marlins. So after 2014, at the end of the season, I was playing winter ball in Venezuela. They called me and they say, we're gonna trade you with another couple players to the Marlins. So it was a kind of blockbuster trade because we trade three guys. We got 3 guys back, and at that point, like I say, it was another limbo in my career. I didn't know what was gonna happen with me and my career. I thought I was just making it to the big leagues. I did okay. I think I did a pretty good job for them. But then it's business, They were looking for another player. Marlins were looking for a player like me and the other 2. And I got traded here, and I ended up playing 8 years of my career in Miami.
Wow. And so what is the trade process like? Obviously, you see in movies that there's a call, you get brought into the office, and the next day you're on a flight. Is that actually how it is? Yeah,
it's how it is. They call you and they tell you, hey, thank you for your service. We're trading you to the Marlins. Hopefully you have a really good and long career there, and then you move on. Is
it fast? You have to be on a plane next day, or do you get a little bit of time?
It didn't happen to me like that because it happens in the off season. So for me, it happens in the off season, but for some players, happen in the middle of the year, and sometimes all you have to do is switch the clubhouse. Like you're in this clubhouse and you're playing against the other team, you got traded over there. All you have to do is pick your stuff and go to the other clubhouse. It happens like that. Baseball is kind of rude in that part because it can change your life from one moment to another, but there's no security, to be honest with you. It's like you're playing for one team, but you showcasing for another 29,
Wow.
That's how I look at it, Like I'm playing for the Dodgers right now, but I'm a free agent after this year. They still have an option on me for next year, but if things don't work out, I'm showcasing for another 29, and if I want to keep playing, I need to show something that I can help another team. So there's a lot of opportunities out there, so that's how I look at it.
So you played 8 years with the Marlins, and now you have been with the Dodgers for 1 year, right? And so now you played with 2 huge organizations. Kind of touch on that and like the difference in organizations and the camaraderie, and what's that like?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I have to talk about the cities, What a privilege to play in 2 big cities of the United States, and having the opportunity to play for the Dodgers as my main organization when I got to the big leagues. It's amazing because it's a first-class organization, which is an organization that the standards are really high. They always think that we have an opportunity to win a championship every single year. And that what kind of like got me to love the Dodgers, because they gave you everything that they have, and they give you the opportunity to have the best of the best, but they ask you about the same thing. They ask you for performance, integrity, how you carry yourself on and off the field. And that's what I kind of I learned, with the Dodgers, that I brought to the Marlins. My leadership and all that. I started to bring leadership to an organization that is like building. When I got to the Marlins, it's a small organization that doesn't bring that many fans to the ballpark every single night, and baseball is kind of growing in this area, and we have never won a championship with the new colors. I would say, because the last championship that they win was in 2003, and when I got to the Marlins, it was an organization like seeking for wins and for fans and all that, and it's a different kind of environment that I was playing with, but it kind of helps me a lot, because I have to become a leader. I have to become a good teammate in the clubhouse. I have to bring my game up to help this team win so many games, and we actually make it to the playoff in 2020, and I felt so good and felt like it was a part of the process, and that's kind of the difference, being in an organization like the Dodgers, which is like we're gonna go to the playoff. If we don't win the championship, it's a bust, and being with the Marlins is kind of like the process of what we need to do to win games. So that's kind of the difference in baseball that I see between the two organizations.
Right, and obviously I'm biased because I live in LA and I'm from California, so I've always been a Dodgers fan. So now you're with the Dodgers, and they just signed, obviously it's big news, they spent over $1 billion on two Japanese players. So have you met them yet?
No, not yet. But I met Ohtani because I played against him when he used to be with the Angels.
Okay.
But around the bases, you're not talking to him that much. But I'm pretty excited.
You guys aren't talking about life at the base?
No, not really. Sometimes the game is going too fast, especially right now with the clock. You have no time to talk about life.
I know. So you get to meet them soon, but do you feel like this is going to be a really, really exciting year, and you guys have a great chance this year going into the Dodgers?
Yeah, for me, Dodgers fans and people in LA should be really excited for the next 10 years, not just for this 2024, this year is going to be excited because it's going to be the first year of Ohtani being there and Yamamoto coming to the Dodgers, and other players, like Tyler Glasnow coming in. We just signed James Paxton yesterday, a lefty that is going to be really good in our rotation, plus the core that we have. Don't forget that we have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts, Will Smith, and all of those guys. It's really excited to be a Dodgers fan right now, and I'm so excited, and I can't really wait until getting to spring training and getting to meet all the new players and get together with the others. I think it's my favorite part of the year. Because we get together after a long time. We get to talk to each other. We get to start again what we got last year. So it's going to be an exciting time, and I can't wait to meet the guys.
Wow, that's amazing. And so you seem like you're a big team guy, that you're really close with your teammates, that you're a good guy. You talked a little bit about, though, like you guys are now traveling even more. You guys already travel 162, you go to 162 games a year, right? In 6 months, which is wild. So you're on the road constantly, but you're taking a jet now, which is nice. You're not taking a bus anymore.
It's really nice.
But touch on now, the MLB is trying to expand worldwide. And so explain a little bit, like you were talking to me earlier, about going to Asia this year.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good experience. It's gonna be my first time in Asia. We're gonna play in Korea. The first 2 games of the regular season against the Padres. It's gonna be kind of different and wild because spring training always is 6 weeks of spring training. You're always in Arizona. It kind of gets boring and long at some point. But this year we're gonna be traveling, so we gotta report a little earlier. Super excited about this series over there. Not just because the Asian players that we have, but like spending the game and playing in another ballparks and in another country and cities where we have never been, and playing in this dome. I think we're gonna be playing in a dome where it's supposed to be really loud. So I'm really excited, and I can't wait to experience that.
And so how is it during season when you are traveling like this, when you have to get on a long flight and pick up the next day and play constantly? How is that on your body?
Yeah, it's really tough. I think it's one of the most difficult things in sport
Yeah.
that you have to play every single day. 162 games in 185 days or something like that, because all we have is like 20 off days and during the year, and those off days sometimes is to travel, because we're in the West Coast. We have to fly to the East Coast at least 2 or 3 times a year, because we have to play the teams in the East Coast, the Central, and all that, and sometimes the off days are travel days.
Yeah.
So we have to jump on a plane and go to a different city, kind of get there around 2, 3 in the morning, trying to sleep as much as you can, and then wake up and go to the ballpark around 2 or 3 p.m. because you need to prepare for another game. I think for players who play every single day, have mad respect, because they have to go through that. Pitchers, I'm not gonna say that pitchers are not working as hard, but guys who not playing every day can really feel the same way. You know, and for me, it's like baseball is really tough, because you play so many games in these days that you don't have a break. You know, like you can't really be like hurting and be playing all these games.
So going through, because we love to like dive into what your day-to-day looks like. So going to a week of what it looks like being a professional baseball player. Do you guys have practice, or do you just play games, and are you getting on flights? How many games are you playing in a city before you're on the road?
Yeah, so when we're at home for we can be at home for 4 to 10 days.
Okay.
It's not gonna be longer than 10 days. Same thing on the road. We're never on the road for more than 10 days. We have to come back home and play some games at home. But we always practice. Every single day, we have to report to the ballpark for a 7 p.m. game. We get to the ballpark around 2:30, 3 p.m. So when we get to the ballpark, it's like, for guys who likes to work out before the game, we do our workouts before the game, and then you go to the cage, you hit in the cage a little bit, and then there's batting practice for the whole team. So where you stretch with the team, you take ground balls, you kind of bond as a team at that time. That happens around 4:30, 5 p.m. Then after that, you go in, you shower, you get something to eat and get ready for the game. And you have to do that every single day.
Wow.
And
so
remember,
you're playing baseball for 8-9 hours a day?
Yeah. And then you have to do it again next day. And sometimes you play at 7 p.m. tonight and then 1 p.m. the next day. So you have to
be there at 8 a.m.
You have to be there around 8, 9 a.m.
Wow.
to play a game at 1 p.m. So it's that's the difference between baseball seasons, and I don't think I can compare with anything.
Yeah.
Because soccer players can play like middle of the week and then by the end of the week.
Yeah.
And then football is just one game a week, and you have all this time to recover and to think about things. If you go 0 for 5 and you strike out 4 times, you have no time to really recover from that. You just have to, pass that and report the next day with the best attitude, better approach, or something like that. You gotta go to the cage and work hard and trying to get your stuff done.
I think also the difference, seeing like in a lot of other sports, there's so much going on. You have so many opportunities in soccer to get the ball and football to get the ball. With you guys, explain a little bit about the mental process, because when you're at bat, it's you and 50,000 people, right? And so if you strike out, that pressure, it's just you at the plate. How does that feel? Yeah,
the mental part of the game in baseball is really important. And I think a lot of people overseas that. It's because it's you against the pitcher, and that's your opportunity to actually perform. And when you're playing your position at defense, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
If the ball is hit to you, you got nobody to really kind of count on,
Right.
It's you. And you always have to be ready for the opportunities. And I think that's why the mental part of it and the breathing, the visualization, anticipation is really important in baseball, because you're not constantly receiving opportunities to score or to do something with the ball, but you have this one opportunity that can be the one that deciding the game. You can win a game with a hit, you can lose a game with an error. So it can happen just one time in the middle of a 9-inning game, but you have to be ready for that chance.
Wow. And so, and every position is different and requires different talent, different skill. And so why do you believe that you're a shortstop? What makes you good at that position?
I think in my hands. I'm a defensive first guy. I think my hands and my defense brought me to the big leagues. my bat wasn't like my first tool and kind of received an opportunity being a utility player, playing different positions in the middle of the field. But I always take really pride of being a shortstop. Shortstop is a really hard position to play. They call it a prime position on the field. Look, catchers, shortstop, and center fielders are kind of the prime positions because they're the most tasking on the baseball field. But I always want to keep myself being a shortstop first that can play other positions.
Okay.
And I think the reason why I'm a shortstop is because I'm a leader and I have good hands. So if you can catch a ball, you can play shortstop.
Okay, amazing. Well, I feel like I've learned so much about baseball today. I thought I knew some things about baseball, but now I know the ins and outs. So now, unfortunately, it's not season yet because they're so busy in season. So obviously, we could not get him in season. You guys heard his schedule. He's got 8 hours of baseball. But we are going to spend a day of off season. He has spring training coming up and then Korea. So he is prepping his body, and we are going to come along and see what the process is like off season, preparing for season as a professional baseball player. So let's do it.